Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're opening up a step-by-step tutorial to really understand our incredible home planet. We're going to dive into a clear, definitive guide to planet Earth together. Whether you're brushing up on the fundamentals or looking for the absolute best way to explain these concepts to someone else, this journey is designed to give you a clear, structured overview of the very ground we stand on. Here is our game plan for today. Step 1, Earth's true shape. Step 2, globes and maps. Step 3, the life ingredients. And finally, a quick review of our main takeaways. Think of this as your true explorer's guidebook. These are the exact steps we need to take to really master our understanding of the world. First, we have to determine the shape of the terrain. Second, we have to learn the tools required to navigate it. And third, we need to identify the exact ingredients that make life on this planet possible. All right, let's get into it. Step 1, Earth's true shape. Okay, so before we can explore the Earth, we have to understand what it actually looks like. Let's start right here with a foundational question. Is the Earth flat like a pancake? Now, while that might sound a little silly to us today, about 500 years ago, this was a massive, serious debate. People truly thought the Earth was completely flat. They believed that if you just kept traveling in one direction for long enough, you'd eventually reach the edge and just literally fall right off. Just look at the absolute contrast between the flat Earth concept and the round Earth concept. I mean, imagine living with the genuine fear that sailing too far out into the ocean would mean plummeting off a cosmic cliff. It fundamentally changed how people traveled and how they viewed their entire place in the universe. So how did we finally prove the pancake theory wrong? Well, it really comes down to one of the most famous voyages in human history. As we established 500 years ago, the flat Earth theory was incredibly popular. But in August 1519, an explorer named Ferdinand Magellan departed from Spain with his crew on a very long, very daring ocean journey. The crucial strategy here? They just kept sailing in one single direction. And guess what happened at the end of the voyage? No edge, no falling off. The crew eventually reached the exact same place where they had started. Magellan's journey definitively proved that the Earth is not flat, but round. Now, what's really interesting is that the story of Earth's shape doesn't actually end with Magellan. Thanks to modern astronauts and space exploration, we have actual photographs of the Earth taken from space. And these photos reveal a pretty fascinating detail. The Earth isn't perfectly round either. It's actually a little flat at the top and the bottom, and it has a slight bulge right in the middle. So if you want a great mental visual, think of it less like a perfectly round balloon and way more like an orange. Those slightly flattened top and bottom parts of our orange-shaped planet have a specific name. They're called the poles. The top part is specifically known as the North Pole, and the bottom part is the South Pole. Understanding these anchor points is absolutely essential for figuring out how our planet spins, and of course, how we navigate it. Step 2, globes and maps. So, now that we know the true shape of the Earth, we run into a very practical problem. The Earth is incredibly massive. We can't possibly see the entire thing at the exact same time. So how do we study it? We use specialized tools. The most direct tool we have is the globe. A globe is simply a small model of the Earth. And here's a fun piece of trivia for you. The term globe is actually derived from the Latin word globus, which literally translates to a sphere or a round mass. Because it perfectly mimics the round shape of the Earth, a globe is incredibly useful for studying where different continents and oceans are located relative to one another in actual three-dimensional space. But globes aren't the only tool we use, right? Let's see how globes actually stack up against maps. While a globe is a round model, a map is a drawing of the Earth, or just a part of it, on a flat surface. Now, why might someone prefer one over the other? Well, it comes down to detail and convenience. Because a globe has to fit the entire world onto a small sphere, it generally shows way less detail. Maps, on the other hand, can zoom way in on specific countries or even cities, showing a much higher level of detail. And then there's portability. A rigid, round globe is pretty hard to just stuff into your backpack. A map can be folded up and easily carried from place to place. And that is exactly why students and travelers so often prefer using maps. And because flat maps are just so endlessly useful, we've created different formats for them to suit our specific needs. For example, if you want a really big map to hang up in a classroom, you'd use a wall map. Or if you want a whole collection of highly detailed maps in one portable package, you use an atlas. An atlas is quite simply a book of maps. It's really the ultimate explorer's handbook. Step 3, the life ingredients. All right, so we've nailed down the shape, and we have our tools ready. Now, this is where things get truly fascinating. Because our Earth isn't just some random rock floating in space. It is a completely unique planet. In fact, it's the only known planet that actually has life on it. But why? It all comes down to the ingredients. If you divide the entire surface of the Earth into 4 equal parts, an astounding 3/4 of it is covered in water. Only 1/4 of the planet is covered in land. Water is an absolute necessity for life. We literally need it to drink, and plants need it to grow. And thankfully, we have an absolute abundance of it. This brings us to a crucial point. Because 3/4 of the Earth's surface is covered with oceans, seas, and lakes, our home has earned a very famous nickname. Earth is widely known as the blue planet. Because when you look at it from space, that vast amount of water makes the whole planet shine like a brilliant blue marble. But as important as it is, water alone isn't enough. There are actually 4 critical requirements that make life possible here. First, as we just discussed, is water. Second is air. We have air containing the oxygen that our bodies desperately need to survive. Plus, this layer of air surrounding the Earth creates what we call the atmosphere. This acts like a giant shield, protecting us from the sun's harmful rays. Third is sunlight. The sun gives us light, helps plants grow, and provides the essential heat and warmth that animals and people need to live. And finally, land. That 1/4 of the Earth's surface provides the solid ground, the actual habitat for humans, animals, and plants to thrive on. When you combine water, air, sunlight, and land, you get the absolute perfect recipe for life. Review the main takeaways. You made it through all 3 steps, but before we wrap this up, as any good explorer knows, we need to quickly consult our notes to really lock in these main takeaways. Here is part 1 of what you now know. First, we completely debunked the pancake myth. Ferdinand Magellan's incredible one-direction journey proved once and for all that the Earth is round. Second, we learned the Earth is shaped kind of like an orange. It's slightly flat at the top, which is the North Pole, and at the bottom, which is the South Pole. Third, when we want to view the whole world as a round mass, we use a globe, our trusty small model of the Earth. And finally, when we need more detail and portability for our travels, we turn to maps. Moving right along to part 2 of our takeaways, focusing on what makes our homes so incredibly special. You now know that Earth is the only known planet to support life. We learned that this life is entirely dependent on 4 things: air, water, sunlight, and land. We highlighted how our atmosphere is a literal protective layer of air keeping us safe. And finally, we discovered why Earth is called the blue planet, because a massive 3/4 of it is covered in life-giving water, leaving just 1/4 as land for our habitat. And that brilliantly illustrates the fundamentals of our world. We've covered the shape, the tools, and the vital ingredients of Earth in this step-by-step tutorial. So I want to leave you with one final thought to ponder today. Now that we've uncovered just how massive and diverse our world actually is, would you rather use a globe to visualize the big picture or a highly detailed map to plan your very own voyage around the blue planet? Think about it, keep exploring, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.